And we're on the right one. Hello and welcome to the NLC. We're getting ready to go into our second game of the day. Aragon, this is an important one as well. Obviously, Verdant, they needed to win to get a chance to make it to playoffs. Vanir, who are a game behind right now, have the chance to equalize the score to Verdant, seeming as Verdant lost that previous game, and that would put them both at 7 and 6. The problem they've got right now is they got to play versus Nord, who have kind of been one of our top teams for a reason. I think they've been the most consistent of our top teams in the league, and I think that's a fair assessment of them. Yeah, what are we making of this game?
Oh, okay. So a lot of it hinges on why Nord, whilst being consistent, had a bit more of a shaky week last week. Is it because they were experimenting with WoW's picks and weak side stuff like this? Or is it because they genuinely weren't great versus Verdant, right? Because Verdant had a really good game. Verdant was solo killing Nord 2v2 bot lane. They were also solo killing top lane, WoW, and Kissing and Woolite were all struggling, right? But then I think Verdant actually threw. So I think there was a very real chance that Nord actually lost last week, which, you know, would have put a lot of damper on the ladder. You know, it would have been really a different scenario. So I definitely do think, why did that happen? Was it because they were experimenting, or was it just, you know, they're struggling? And if it was because they were experimenting, then I think Vanir had no chance, right? I think Vanir just have no chance if they, you know, actually play their proper style. If they play properly, then yeah, Vanir don't really have anything to go off of.
I mean, these are our two teams with the longest win and loss streaks right now.
Yes.
It's, like, active anyway at the moment. You got Vanir on a 4-win streak and Nord on a 5-win streak. So Vanir have definitely been on an upward trajectory, and this has kind of been a last-minute surge in basically capability, I guess is the best word for it. There goes the Olaf, as you expected from WoW. Remember, it's not Verdant versus Ruddy, just so you know. We'll be sorting that in a little bit. We're seeing the Varus getting banned away here from the side of Nord. I'm expecting, again, probably quite a lot of attention towards that bot lane and these kind of like long-range pokey AD carries. I don't know if I want to see Aphelios again, at least not with the Lulu, because that was brutal. And I feel like that would just be a massive mistake for either team to let that through.
Yeah, so last week, I think Vanir, it's Vanir versus Nord. That just threw me again, sorry. Vanir had a really clear-cut identity as well, right? We saw Narfaling both games, we saw Nautilus both games, Sejuani both games. They really know what they want, right? So I think denying any of those picks is valuable. I definitely think denying Lingui Gnar is very useful, because Lingui has been quite shaky outside of Gnar. Fun statistic, Lingui has played Gnar 6 out of the last 7 games. Right, so just deny that, make his life miserable, because outside of that, I don't think he's stronger than WoW individually. Okay, but maybe with it, he is, especially with an Olaf ban. Other than that, I definitely do think they'll lean towards these the Sejuani picks. The game warping AD carries are out of the meta, so maybe we see another Aphelios Lulu. I really hope so. It's definitely very fun. There's the Gnar ban. I completely agree with it. They've done their scouting as well. And other picks to look at are definitely the Gragas flicks.
I feel like if you don't want to be playing the Aphelios, the Lulu is still a good pickup here, because Crispr could just take that Zeri. Zeri Lulu, a very strong
for sure.
lane for them. So I actually feel like Lulu is not a bad pick. Obviously, you still got things like the Lee Sin up and available. Sejuani is open. The Gragas, which is that power flex pick, is open. So if you decide to lean away from the bot lane, I'm curious now what Nord are going to answer out with here. They could literally lock in that Aphelios Lulu or the Zeri Lulu, or, you know, one of those two, then put a nice jungle of Akabane in there. The Elise is up and available. So, like, something like Lulu and Elise is a big one, or Annie Elise could be a really, really powerful pickup here for them.
Yeah, I would actually pick up Sejuani here to deny it, personally. You blind a Sejuani. And it also works really well with Vanir. They also really love it. Vanir like to play a lot of melee supports too. Touch is kind of synonymous with engaged supports by now. He definitely loves picking engaged supports every single game. I think I looked at his match history on the Wikipedia, and I had to scroll like further than a month back to see anything that wasn't an engaged support. Stuff like a Mumu Nautilus every single game. So taking away the Sejuani synergy with that is very powerful, I think. And then there's the Aphelios. I really hope we see a Lulu with it. Maybe you pick Jinx Lulu and deny it, or pick Zeri Lulu and deny that as well. But definitely I want to see it again.
Yeah, it looks like Crispberg is going to get his hands on that Jinx. And yeah, I think you're right. You can't risk that Lulu. Obviously, the Annie is technically there as a flex, but realistically, putting Annie in the mid lane and then putting the Lulu on the Aphelios, especially when you ain't got the Annie in front, really, really big. They could lean away from it. We know Touch likes these engaged supports, like you were saying, and the point and click, I choose you, will like to go airborne, could be very impactful, especially could just buy enough time, even through a cleanse, for the caster hit, like we saw in the previous game. You cast Aphelios into the middle of 5 people, and you are going to be going down. And it looks like Annie is going to be going in the mid lane. Been a while since we've seen it go mid. Instead, they're looking to go for that support in the Rakan here as an answer out to this engaged bot lane.
Interestingly, they bring the Annie out to the mid lane because as an answer, people have been picking the Nautilus or other hook champions, engaged champions into Annies. I think we saw Domino last week go Rel into Annie and actually look pretty decent, right? You hook the Annie or you engage on the Annie and she just dies. She's super squishy. So you put her mid lane, which is also incredibly good role, and you match it with some potentially like synergies. I think the best one that I'm looking at for Nord is Lee Sin. I think Lee Sin plus Annie is a good combination. You have setup, which Lee Sin really likes, or Vi. I think those are definitely the two, and then you get on the Jinx really easily. On the other hand, what do you ban for the other side? I think you ban junglers. I think you definitely ban stuff like Sejuani, Vi, and Lee Sin as well, or you target ban WoW. How could I forget? I would definitely target ban WoW here.
Jax. Has to be a Jax, doesn't it?
Yeah, Darius Jax for sure.
Wait, does WoW play Fiora or is that someone else?
I think that's more Banderas and
you're right. It was Banderas.
Yeah.
That was who I was thinking of. Yeah, I think Jax is a big ban here. If you're going to target ban him, but obviously then that does leave open, like you were saying, the Sejuani. We don't actually know where this Gragas is going. Remember, it's still very flexible in its current position and in the current state of the lane. They are actually banning the Victor, predicting maybe this Gragas might just be there to absorb whatever WoW picks up. I believe Gragas is typically picked up into something like that Jax as well. So it looks like this could just be Lingui predicting a potential Jax coming out and now looking to just kind of keep this as a flexible pick for as long as possible. They do lock themselves, take away the Jarvan as the final ban here from the side of Vanir. Let's see what Nord are going to be looking for. Obviously, they've got their mid, they've got their AD carry and support picked up. So expecting this to be a jungler and then get counter pick for WoW in the top side.
I'm kind of disappointed it turned out to be Vi instead of Lee Sin. Maybe you don't want to play Lee Sin into Gragas, and all this CC and the Jinx traps actually stop you traveling. But he's just so good on Lee Sin, right? I love watching Akavane on Lee Sin. But no, Vi does make more sense. It's uninterruptible CC and definitely good versus a Jinx and a mobile AD carry. Another option may have been Sejuani because recently Rakan was made into a melee champion, so he actually works with Sejuani passive, but you probably don't want to play for that anyway. Rakan likes to typically just go roam, right? Does look like the Lee Sin's going to be picked up on the other side. 2 top tier junglers picking top tier level picks as well.
Alrighty, and the final rotation here to find out where the Gragas is going, either top or in that mid lane. The Azir is up and available. I'm just trying to think of like good mid laners right now, but they could actually lock in if they decide to put the Gragas in the top side. Gragas obviously is quite a good top laner here just because he can absorb whatever pressure WoW picks up. They actually decided to change their mind and go for the Sion in the top lane. Like you said, Sion angles have a lot of power right now in the current state of the game. And I will say this about Vanir. That is a really beefy front line. Yeah. I know Gragas goes AP and doesn't typically go like full AP, like full tank, but he will have a rower most likely, which gives him a little bit of extra health and kind of just a bigger health bar to work through. There's a lot of crowd control and people who stand in front of the Jinx. Chrisberg theoretically has quite a fun game here. Obviously, there is a Vi, there is a GP, there is an Annie. There's a lot of crowd control in response. I think team fights and skirmishing are going to be carnage, Aragon. That's my prediction for this game.
No, yeah, completely. I think you had a couple of options there as the last R5 counterpick for top lane. A nice that they leave it to him. I wasn't convinced by his gangplank, I have to say. It was a bit shaky last time. I think he got solo killed by Nilly on the Gnar last week. So maybe he's gone better at it, right? You have that tank matchup. I don't even think it's that great for Gangplank from memory, right? I think Sion's so good right now as well that I just prefer taking the Sion side of the matchup too. Although Gangplank is definitely underrated in current meta. He's terrorizing solo queue at the moment. But yeah, like you said, complete beef squad, right? And this is what you expect. This is exactly what they drafted last week. And you've got to think, this is what Nord have prepared in response to the pure beef squad. I think you had a few options, definitely drafting anti-melee and anti-engage, right? I think you could have picked stuff like Gwen as well. They clearly identified that Olaf would be a problem for their engage compositions. But yeah, that's typically the angle I would have gone for. I think you could have also gone Renata or something to stop engages too. But it does look like the theme of the draft is going to be engage and front to back versus disengage.
I also do think, something to kind of keep in mind is that's an Annie mid, not support. So it's not going to be Shirelia's battle song Annie. This is going to be like most likely Luden's Echo Annie. You know, the full kind of pen, a lot of burst potential and a lot of just tick damage. AP Annie does so much damage right now. Tibbers tanks for so long that he just is basically constantly proccing area as well. There's a lot of damage, and I feel if Chris Berg finds himself too close to the Annie or in range of the Vi, that beefy front line doesn't matter because Vi will just ignore them and jump straight onto the back line. Sure. The Annie lock-in comes down as well to follow that up. You're going to need a stopwatch early. You're going to need to play these fights very, very well and really, really intelligently from Vanir. I think this is a game where I don't see like a massive draft diff like I think in the previous game. I think the previous game was very much like they locked in the Aphelios Lulu. They got a good start to that game, and then the comp just unraveled. I think in this case, this is really going to be an execution thing and about how well both teams play out these team fights, the target selection, the kind of room they give to their carries to breathe. This could be one very, very fun game to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since we know Touch likes to roam, right? If you can bet on anything, if you could bet on who would roam it, you just got to bet on Touch, right? He just runs around the map as Nautilus, covering his lanes and also ganking. So really excited for that. I've got to say, I don't really like an immobile Jinx without any direct peel. Yes, you have some like easy CC from the Nautilus and the Gragas, but like, typically you want to kind of use them on the enemies, you know? Like yeah. I'm not the biggest fan to dive them. I prefer having, with a Jinx, I prefer having direct peel with stuff like a Tom Kenchi or, you know, Lulu peeling, stuff like this, Thresh Lanterns, you know. Yeah. But a Jinx on its own, he could get dunked by that Vi a lot.
Yes, absolutely. I think this could be an interesting game here, as we are going to see Chris Berg getting potentially franked.
Chris Berg?
He's dead.
He knows it.
Yeah. Why did he win? Flashes.
There's no way.
Look at with the Q, the feathers. Chris Berg's flashed onto. The ignite comes out from Kasing. And the shield from Proxy. No way. Wow. Flashes in for the first blood.
But why would you flash out there, Chris Berg? You're 100% dead. They're all around you, and they can just match flashes. Now you don't have flash as an AD carry in lane, and if you just get engaged on, Akabane must be eyeing up that bot lane. I definitely think now Chris Berg is going to have a hard time.
That's going to be a rough lane now. That's going to be a very, very rough lane. I guess the saving grace is Kasing doesn't have flash or ignite. A good pick onto him means he's either going to be chunked or taken out the lane. But yeah, not the start that Vanir really wanted in this game for them.
Yep. Standard stuff. It looks like Touch is just walking up aggressively, but I think top lane for the side of WoW should get the push, although maybe he's too scared to do it because he has no flash. This is what I'm talking about. Look, Lingui is actually getting the better of the trades. In the past, Sion used to actually beat GP, at least early and for a while, because GP just couldn't bully him out. And honestly, these buffs to Sion, plus 40 HP and plus 20 AD to every single Q, it's just too much, right? I think Sion is the king of base stats at the moment, and Sion, especially for the NLC, where we have historically slower games, right? I definitely think Sion is incredibly good here and underrated.
Yes, absolutely. I think, we saw
my God,
what Rifty did on the side in the previous game. He ate so much, so much pressure. It's probably the best way to word it.
WoW has a 2-minute 30 Sheen.
Oh my God. Oh God.
Oh, look at Lingui's health bar. That's what he was doing. So he stayed in lane for a few minions because he got 450 gold from the first blood kill, and then just realized, you know what? I don't know if he has Futures Market, but he could just instantly, on the first wave, after the first wave, 3 minions of the first wave, just get that Sheen, and it's going to be hell for Lingui.
Yeah, Lingui's not going to be having a great time of it now, unfortunately. As did we just see Fury Flash? Yes, we did just see Fury Flash. So Luca buying a little bit of breathing room for themselves in that lane, as he is going to maybe look to jump in and get a nice trade off onto Fury. Lovely trade off onto Fury. Does lose all his mana though, unfortunately. As meanwhile, bot lane is going just about as rotten as we expected, to be honest.
Yeah, I think both these side lanes are problematic for the side of Vanir, right? GP is getting shoved in and has no TP, so if he does get chunked, top lane, he will have to recall and take the L on a really bad recall. However, more action is coming into mid lane. I don't think anything can actually happen mid lane. It's a miracle they got flash, to be honest, because whilst there is good setup, I think Annie could just walk away with a shield, right? Maybe I'm underestimating the setup from Gragas Lee Sin. It is a good pairing after all. It is meta. But yeah, I think what we're going to see is more just slow gameplay where plays just can't be made unless Chrisberg without a flash overextensive.
Yeah, I think he's going to be A-okay. Has got that cleanse coming up and available. A Cabane, like you said, in the area. Vanir very much aware now. They have been counter-jungled and they have a lack of pressure right now. Zakabane is just going to be getting a reset off just to make sure that he's close enough in case something does go down.
Yeah. You're just terrified to walk up if you're Chrisberg, right? You just cannot do anything if you get caught without flash. So on that Jinx, this big weakness of the champion. You know, on Ezreal with an arcane shift. Is that recall going to cancel? No, it will not. And that is a mental win for Lingui. If I was Lingui, I'd be pretty happy getting that through.
Oh, hello! That was a beautiful little flash belly bop there. Super well played by Vanir.
I spoke too soon. They managed to find the play, but after punishing that flash, Fury doesn't even see it coming with that flash belly bop. You're right. Really good stuff.
Very, very well played there, actually, coming out from Vanir. He saw Akabane on the bottom side, and Ploxy doesn't agree to go for the counter jungle, even though he lost some camps. He instead knew that the play could come in, waited for it, and we'll see this again. Flash belly bop. He's waiting over the wall. Easy Q. Well, actually, Ploxy ward hops to guarantee the point blank Q. Really, really clean stuff coming in.
Really nice. It's only going to get worse with the amount of displacement this duo has. Gragas, Cask, and Lee Sin kick. If an Annie without flash walks up and gets CC'd, you're just not going anywhere, are you? You're going to go flying back into the enemy team. So, I want to see more plays come out of this mid game, especially as the game goes level 6. You can see Luca there just pinging level 6 now. I'd hope he calls over Ploxy, but it looks like Ploxy's going to make it to play top lane.
Yeah, Luca has to be careful though, because Akabane is in the area, will reveal himself. I think something has to happen in this bottom side as Luca gets tibbered, but ultimately he loses a bunch of health, but he's Gragas, he has sustain. He's going to be able to clear out this wave. Tower's going to do a lot of work from that Tibbers for him as well, so ultimately, yeah, Fury did burn Tibbers, and it's not on an overly long cooldown, even at level 6, but still, Luca probably feeling a little bit more comfortable now. We'll have to get a little bit of sustain up, though, before he thinks about going for anything more.
I definitely think it definitely favors Luca, right? I think what Fury was doing there was using his ultimate to secure the crash, which is something you could do. Like, not every ult has to get a kill, although it is nice. You can use it to secure crashes sometimes. Otherwise, his wave would have been really unfavorable. He might get ganked again on 6. So I completely understand what Fury was doing there. However, Luca, for Gragas, essentially mana is health, right? Because your spells cost mana, and that translates into health with the passive. So look at his items. He essentially has infinite mana with a cookie too. I don't think he's going to budge out lane face here just because of ultimate. Look, he's almost full HP again. Oh, that sidestep.
Oh, good hook comes in. There's going to be the jump back. Fury goes down as Ploxy secures his second kill. The GPR not going to do enough. The cannon barrage barely clearing it through. And Vanir able to find another kill onto Fury, and his flash is now just about come back up. So really, really big punish. 2 kills from 1 flash burn. Meanwhile, there might be a problem for Chrisberg.
Smells it, backs off, and it looks like Akabane might not even be able to take this camp. It's a bit scary when you don't have Q, and the Nautilus is walking up to you, but it looks like they're not going to successfully punish Chrisberg, and I just want to commend Chrisberg because he has managed to get through this lane phase without being punished because of a lack of flash from level 1. So really good stuff there. He also didn't have cleanse, right? So now he has all his summoners up, and they can actually probably contest this dragon. You can see both mid laner and jungle are walking through bot side, maybe to get priority and move into the river.
Yeah, looks like Ploxy is going to wait about in the area just in case. As Hook does connect in. They get the zap for the slow, and that is going to be them out. Chunk of damage, though. Maybe they can look to now use this to contest the dragon. Do have to worry, though, as Fury has flash, has Tibbers charged up. So I think Vanir just going to have to give up this cloud.
Yeah, no flashes for Luca. No ultimate for Luca either means, you know, Fury has prio and we're just going to give it up. It's just first dragon and it's just Cloud Drake. Although there is a collapse going on bot side. I think it's a kill.
Oh, Kasing's in danger. He's going to be able to flash away. Chrisberg also getting out. Chrisberg gets excited. Needs to deal with the Tibbers. Is able to do so. In comes Lingui on the Scion. A lot of damage as Woolite's got the chakrams charged up, and Vanir are pulling ahead right now.
And 2 plates down for the side of Vanir. They managed to lose 2 plates. But look at top side. WoW is also going to get this push and go for 2 plates because Lingui has TP'd down bot side. You can see the cross map. But however, this replay came at a really unfortunate time because I believe WoW is going to get ganked now by Agragas in live game. You see this gank attempt from Lingui. Did it happen? Yes, there it is. I think he might die here.
Oh, WoW's been belly bot back. All they need to do is connect the Q, and there it is. Luca finds the kill.
That was really unfortunate replay timing, but it's okay. Kill comes over. WoW trying to cross map after the play bot side to punish Lingui for this TP, but really good read from Luca saying, you know what, we're not going to let you cross map, right? I'm going to roam up top lane using my priority, rotate Chrisberg to mid to cover mid as well, and we cover all bases.
Oh, that touch is going to make his way over towards the mid wave. Just to make sure that Chrisberg catches that wave. And Rift Herald up. I'm curious to see what team's going to get their hands onto it. As right now, Vanir are the ones who've got the pressure on it.
No
and
flash
actually
jinx.
they rotated Woolite over for this, so they want to fight it. Problem is Fury's not charged up. Fury also doesn't have Tibbers, so there we go. Vanir are going to be able to pick it up. Don't think we're going to see more than that.
Now, how is Ploxy going to use this lead? He has no ward hub available, so he probably wants to get down this Rift Herald as soon as possible. But him and Luca and Chrisberg have the lead. Honestly, the perfect people to have the leads, genuinely. I think they're gold. What's the word? When you dispense gold to the right people. Allocation, that's it. The gold allocation for their team is perfect. It's really, really good. You could argue that Jinx could have more kills, but for now, to bridge them to Jinx's scaling, Ploxy with this lead, you can imagine that he's just going to carry right now. I really want to see what he does here. I want to see Rift Herald place down bot side to potentially match the plates that Woolite has taken on this Aphelios. But look, top lane, demolish proc Sion, man. I'm telling you, the perfect composition right now is Sion plus Aphelios Lulu. All right, do you agree, Hiprain? What do you think?
Yeah, no. I don't want to think about that Aphelios Lulu anymore. Honestly, after one game was fun.
Nightmares.
It's one of those things where it's like, man, the more you see it, the worse it gets, actually. You're like, oh, this is perfectly playable.
Some action coming out that bot side here. Is this ult going to come down? Akabane?
Yeah, they're going to throw it down onto him. They're going to throw everything onto Chrisberg. He's gone. No way for him to play it. Touch has been knocked up. Lucas trying to come in. Gets the cast back. Gets the belly bop off as well. Kasing jumping away to safety. The kick goes wide from Ploxy. Can't quite get it. Grabs him, comes on. Ploxy misses the E. And Nord limp away from that play.
And the Sonic Wave is a millimeter from connecting. It's so close. But again, Chrisberg getting caught out. This is exactly what I was talking about. Having no direct peel, right? No shields, no nothing for her Jinx. I don't think it's a great recipe, you know? I think your Jinx just dies. She's so immobile. I don't think Vanir can do anything here either. And this Chrisberg death definitely stunts their ability to make a play with this Herald. Because now Chrisberg has to walk out of base. Don't think WoW's dead here. Maybe I spoke too soon.
He loses a lot of HP. Is gonna... Ooh, ow! Hold the phone!
There's no out
he
here.
got it? I mean,
he can't get out.
This is Essence Reaver versus just Ninja Tab. I was about to say, Lingui.
Okay.
There's no way. That would have been ridiculous if WoW went down there.
Absolutely. And the Rift Herald being dropped. Fury trying to find the engage onto Chrisberg. Cleanse popped. But he will walk out of here. But now, crucially, he has no tools. No cleanse for the next dragon. So will Vanir give up another Drake because he cannot avoid the CC from Nord? We'll have to see. Dragon is spawning in a minute. And we'll see. Maybe they choose to cross map topside. Maybe they dive WoW instead. Or they just sit Chrisberg mid and they just choose to give it up. Now, Ploxy taking camps. Just sitting the mid lane, 80 carries in mid lane. I do believe Hiprain might be DC'd, so I'll just continue on my own.
I muted like an idiot. I was like...
It's all good, it's all good.
Because it's actually not a Hex Drake. That's what I said. It's not a Cloud Drake, it's a Hex Drake. It's the visual bug that's been out since that dragon was launched.
Oh, okay.
Because we've already had a Cloud Drake. Unless that's a new bug and it's some other Drake. But I'm pretty sure that means it's a Hex Tech. All the teams are rotating now down towards this area. to try. Oh, it's a Chemtech. Okay, it was a Chemtech bug. Try and contest it. Let's see, who's going to actually have the pressure on here. Taking a quick look at the items right now. I think the major thing is WoW, almost level 11, so we'll have 2 points in that Cannon Barrage. Obviously, no teleport, so all he really will be offering is that Cannon Barrage. Lingui is about to get the charge up as well, so he should be able to close the gap fairly quickly if he needs to. Ploxy almost getting himself caught out, and Chris Berg, now with the Gale Force, probably feeling quite comfortable. Got most of his summoner spells. Well, got his flash, but doesn't have his cleanse up at this point.
Yeah. So
it looks
Ping's
like maybe Nord are going to get it.
Ping's coming down, right? You could see that Nord are also pinging topside, right? Like they're pinging the top lane tower, potentially cross map, whilst they give up or maybe waste time at this dragon. They value getting more gold onto WoW over potentially securing this first Drake for Vanir. And you could see, right? Pings tell everything. Something I learned as a caster was just watch the team's pings. They will ping on waves or ping towers in advance, so you could see their plans coming up at next objectives. And like I said, WoW is just going to go for this tower. They value getting this first brick turret gold onto WoW and accelerating him, and he's almost at his second item completed. It's going to be a menace at these team fights.
Touch is just going to Hex Flash out. There he goes. Nice little dragon pick up there, though, for Vanir. And honestly, this game is looking very, very competitive. I think that's my core takeaway here is I expected this to kind of go a little bit more like what we just saw with Ruddy versus Verdant. But actually, Vanir, they've been very proactive early, and they're doing a good job of keeping themselves in this game. Yes, there is a gold lead over to Nord, considering the fact that the kill lead is in Vanir. Does show you, that first blood and WoW being able to just be GP. I know GP obviously gets a lot of passive gold as well, just from that Q and farming with the barrels. So kind of something to kind of keep in mind. He will have himself a pretty significant gold lead off the back of that. And the fact he's got Futures Market means he's finishing items way quicker than Lingui can.
Yeah. And Rift Arrow being postured here, and WoW actually moving up. You can see he's completed 2 items at 15 minutes. Now, typically, for champions not named Gangplank and First Strike users, 15 minutes is when you complete 1 item, right? So he's very accelerated, extremely accelerated. And there's an engage that might come down here.
Yeah, they're going to jump in there, throw everything down. They actually don't focus Chrisberg. That's big. He's untouched. The Cannon Barrage is there. It's buying some space, but the damage coming in is huge. Chrisberg's excited. They get the knock up onto Fury. Kasing coming in, but wow! With the 3-man barrel. Absolutely huge 3-par there. Gets the second chain off as well. Flashes into Lingui's face. Gets himself a triple kill. He almost went for the penta. It's a quadra kill over to WoW's GP. Absolutely disgusting coming in from WoW.
The sick barrel combos. He also managed to get the 2-part combo under tower. Man, I don't think there's anything to explain that other than what an amazing play from WoW. He managed to run into the tower, tries to secure the penta, doesn't quite get it. And I think Fury might be dead here.
That might be one dead Annie. I think should just be one more belly bop. Down they go. Killing spree. But man, I need to see that fight again. WoW got like I think it was a 3-par from the side of the map. It was huge.
And he's definitely looking more practiced than before. Last week, he was struggling in lane, right? But now, look at his team fighting. Barrels are not easy. That 3-part onto Chrisberg, pop, right? Next combo, manages to combo everyone. And granted, before this, the ultimate came off too. Managed to pop Lingui, flash forward, get the burn. Does like 2 damage with the burn and almost secures touch. But I think he does fall to the minions in the end. Really insane stuff for WoW. Showing his, his ability to play more champions now. He's not a Darius Olaf 1-trick anymore. 2-trick. He can play other things. You've got to be really wary of this top laner.
Very, very scary. And, yeah, like you're saying, at the beginning of Champ Select, you're like, I wasn't particularly sold on his GP, but he's making a point. He's making a point for himself here, looking very, very good. Obviously, on the other side, Luca, he's 3-0 right now. He's been playing very well himself. Chrisberg, honestly, considering that he's 1-3, he did get caught at the beginning of the game, did go down in the middle of that fight. He did a good job of avoiding a lot of the initial stuff. He avoided the Tipper stun. He avoided the knock-up from Kasing. It was just the barrel. I mean, that's a 3-item now GP. So, I mean, a level 980 carry versus a level 12 GP with 3 items. It's not gonna, you're not gonna live it. You're just not gonna live it.
Yeah, and I just want to. There was a funny tweet last week because WoW's DP did get solo killed. I believe he was bragging about winning the game on a tweet, and Akabane replied saying, "How can you get killed 1v1 versus Nog? Go play 20 games of solo queue on GP." So I think that happened. I think we have evidence of that. He's definitely brushed up his GP and his barrels.
Yeah, looking a lot better. But now we're actually only 19 minutes in. We're under the 20-minute mark, and this game already feels like it's in a pretty late game stake here. As well, then
failing that one after I praise him.
Kind of
Come
mess
on,
up
man.
his barrel a little bit there. Hey, man. He hit the barrel but needed to hit.
Happens.
Not the one on the
Happens
minions.
to the best
They
of
can't
us.
cancel it.
Yep. It does look like it's all going to be on WoW, though. He's on 3 items before some people in this game are on 1, I believe. Oh, no. Everyone's on 1 at least now. So 3 to 1 items is the ratio here. And I want to see him use his lead now because he does have all the gold. And if he can do that, then I'll definitely be sold on his GP.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you on that one. The real question is Crisper going to be able to get himself back into this game? Nord are going to summon the Herald in mid. Fury, Tibbers up, flash available. Will be able to get that stun down. Akabane. It's funny how he didn't ult Crisper because he just didn't see Crisper as a threat in that previous fight. We'll see if he goes in for it again. This time he does. Cannon barrage, Tibbers, everything thrown down. And there he goes. It is a whitewash of a fight already. Then comes in the belly bot from Luca. They're trying to find a little bit of a turnaround. Throws down the barrel. The barrel to try and save the day. The cask, I guess. The Gravitum's there from Woolite. He's got the Infernum. Knock up onto 2 as well. Somehow Luca's able to get away, but this time the Gravitum gets him. Almost gets away with a belly bot to save his life, but it's not going to be enough. 4 for 2 in favor of Nord.
And the entire fight, I really hope we get a replay of that, because the entire fight, just watch Woolite. He starts the fight up with a massive ultimate, which spreads AoE everywhere, and then he's just, the remainder of the fight, he's just untouched, right? If you take a look at here, watch him in the back. Fires this big ulti, massive AoE, and then no one is hitting him, no one is CCing him, and he just gets to free hit. Yes, WoW dies, but he's acting like a body block, and now he unlocks Woolite to fight too. In the end, they come just short of killing, I think, both of them. They both drop to 1 HP. Maybe different if he has Kraken Slayer, but then he hasn't got the execute and the range of the Gale Force potential. But still, really good team fighting coming out from Nord here, managing to find that secure onto the Crisper to start the fight.
Really, really big. And
is that a Baron?
That is a sneaky, but I did not notice that. I mean, they
can't do this. Gangplank ult.
It's on cooldown at the moment. They've seen it. They're coming in. Touches on the run. He gets stunned. In jumps Lingui. His health bar is forfeit. The Baron is taken away, but the barrel to follow is huge. Proxy jumps over the wall, and they're trying to get the Baron resets out. WoW will chase as Lingui will buy time for his team. Looks like they have to cancel some of these recalls out. Touch is going to get cancelled as well. Fury chasing in. They get the hook. They get the kick. They get the follow-up. They kick him away. It doesn't quite hit onto everybody. And they may have got Baron, but the ultimate price was paid as they are losing everybody. Ploxy's health bar is being liquefied by Woolite. Woolite is not getting himself in danger as Luca will find the shutdown onto him. But he's the only member of his team standing with that Baron buff. That was catastrophic for Vanir.
And that is not a good trade deal. Losing all 4 members with Baron, plus losing a tier 2 turret, which by itself is worth 800 gold, for 1 Baron buff? I thought it was a terrible idea at first because Gangplank ulti essentially nullifies any ability someone has to take Baron. So if they were tracking that as an incredible call, being able to track Gangplank ult cooldown is really, really impressive. If they weren't, then it was actually just desperation. Luca, no! Not the ultimate!
He's going in, he's looking for it, and Fury's going to find the stun, but I think Luca's going to be okay. There's 3 of them. No, he's fine. Rocket, 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 rocket! No. Whew.
Can we take a breather?
Yes, I think we can take a breather.
I think Dragon going down to Vanir here. Managing to find something. A small consolation prize, but second Dragon. Realistically, does it do anything? Not really, right? Like, it doesn't really do anything. I don't think you're ever going to get to a point we can now secure third Dragon. Unless you maybe get a pop-up from a Ploxy with a nice kick onto Woolite, who's definitely now your target.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Vanir is still getting some objectives, right? They got the Baron, they've got the Dragon, and I guess that's the silver lining is they may have lost that team fight really hard, but at least they didn't lose that team fight and Baron. I guess that's your copium for that one. And, you know, they're not out of this game by any means. I think Chrisberg is having an incredibly hard time dealing with just being basically just target practice for them. And I think that, unfortunately, will continue now that Luca's got the stopwatch. It's so hard for Akabane to just go, okay, instead of Chrisberg, I'll go for Luca, because Luca's level 16, he's got the stopwatch. Like, he is very much the glimmering hope for his team right now.
And this is what I was talking about in draft. I said I'd like to have a Viban here, you know, because how do you play? I have no idea what that ultimate was, Luca, but
I guess it's short cooldown.
How do you play Jinx into Vi and all this like unstoppable single target CC? Surely you need some kind of peel or to deny this pick, right? Like definitely. And I think we're seeing the fruits of that. Now, looks like it's going to be a five-man mid. I think you potentially siege the sides as well, put someone bot lane. Gangplank wouldn't mind going to split here, but I guess he feels, potentially feels like, you know, they have too much hard engage. I have to stay mid lane. Engage coming down.
Yeah, they're going to throw everything in. They do miss it all, though, crucially, and this tower still going to be standing at the end of the siege. A lot used there by Nord and nothing gained, other than a bit of damage onto the tower. Ploxy, he's just playing with fire. Jumping in, jumping out. As Akabane is not going to be able to get too much here. 3 minutes until the next dragon is up. 2 minutes until the Baron, that's the word, is spawning up. And it feels like it's probably just going to be get as much gold onto Chrisberg for the love of all that is holy. Get Chrisberg into a place where he can play this game.
I'm really struggling to see it. I think he needs to pick up a stopwatch for the next dragon. It's just so important, and there's no other way he can stay alive. I am fairly certain if Vi ultimates Chrisberg, and then WoW drops a Gangplank ult on top, there is absolutely nothing he can do, because AD carries hate Gangplank ult when they're immobile.
Yes.
Let's hope Lingui gets tanky enough that he can also body block alongside Luca, but again, I think your best peel is actually Lee Sin Shields, which it's never really the best, is it? It's never really the best.
Well, 25 minutes in.
Ooh, hip frame. You main Gangplank, right?
I main Gangplank and LeBlanc.
What do you think about the Gale Force pickup just there?
I haven't tried that
no?
in a long moment. It's been a hot minute. I will say, GP is one of those champions who like really suffers from being slowed. And he also like really suffers from, you know, he hasn't got like that low movement speed because obviously you get movement speed off your barrels and your passive is proc, you get movement speed. And his core movement speed's not like incredibly low, but because he has no dashes, he does feel sometimes quite sluggish in very fast-paced team fights. And all it really takes is like a Gragas barrel to displace him. And then suddenly he has to like reposition and he loses like valuable time in a fight. I think I'd prefer Prowler's Claw, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. But you know, Gale Force gives passive movement speed. It gives you the dash as well. I wouldn't say it's inherently bad. It also, obviously, the main thing is he's now on like 80% crit chance. Yeah, 80% crit chance off this build, which obviously in turn buffs his Navari quick blade as interesting quick kick. But yeah, I think you know, it's definitely not. I feel like if you want the crit mythic, just go shield bow because it kind of gives you a lot of survivability. But you know, I guess we'll see. WoW is a mad scientist.
I want to see a Gale Force forward into a Q to finish someone off. That's what I'm looking for. I don't know about you. Or maybe some
I want a Gale
crazy
Force
barrel
for the auto attack and then walk away and let him burn. Because Trial by Fire, remember, scales off your crit damage.
Ooh.
So his passive does more true damage based on how much crit chance he has. Also, his barrel's slow based on how much crit chance he has as well, if I remember right. So the more crit chance, the more stuff he gets. Because he gets chunked a little bit there.
The more you know. The more you know. It does look like we're just going to get permanent standoffs because of the level of the engage coming out from Vanir's side. You don't want to split push when the engage is really insane, because the second you go to a side wave, you get engaged on. So you just end up A-ramming, right? And that's what Nord is doing exactly, and I really like it.
Ploxy checked the same bush twice, and I don't think he spotted him. Fury's going to kill Chrisberg! Chrisberg cleanses, he flashes away. Luca jumps in, gets a whole heap of damage off, but he is down. Wow picks him up, and that is the fight done before it started. Maybe there's a world where they can get away. There was a rocket thrown down. The health bars are low, but not low enough to really stop this too much. Lingui going to try and get a bunch of additional damage off. Chrisberg's on the run. They're going to turn their attention towards the dragon instead and just hope that Soul's going to be their win condition going forwards.
And you got to think Nord must run down there to potentially stop that dragon, right? Otherwise, it's sole point. But yeah, what even happened there? Did Chrisberg try to flank? But really, really good on Fury to guard that flank towards the top side of the Baron, because that's where steals can come in, right? And Fury knows this. For some reason, Chrisberg shows up there, and did you see that? What exactly happened? I hope we get a replay of that, because I didn't catch it. Yeah, onto Chrisberg from Fury.
He walked into the bush. So basically, Ploxy checked the bush Fury was in 2 times, and both times Fury dodged the Q. So they just assumed that the Annie wasn't in that bush. Yeah, that was a bit silly from Touch. So they just made the assumption, but like no one was in that bush. So Chrisberg goes around to try and be away from the side of the fight, and it ends up just eating a Tibbers stun.
Brutal. How can you even auto? I just don't see how it's possible. Cask?
Cask?
There's no follow-up.
That's an interesting one, as the rocket also goes wide. They do get the knockback of the multiple members. Fury coming in. Chrisberg already chunked out by the barrels. They throw down another cast to try and catch them out, but they clear the wave, I guess.
And Nord decide, you know, we can end this next siege, potentially. Typically with your first Baron, it's very unlikely that you actually like break open the base. Typically if you watch Baron sieges, it's almost never an instant base opener. You're happy if you get both tier 2s and maybe one inhibitor turret. But back to this replay, you can see Luca almost actually kills WoW, whilst WoW's ultimate just is going the entire time. I don't know how much damage it did, must have been upwards of 2k just on top of the tanks and the carries. But yeah, WoW almost gets assassinated by Luca with the backline dive. But again, this is the mismatch of identities that I pointed out earlier. Jinx can't really follow up on these combinations that Luca is dropping down into the backline. And we're just seeing that Chrisberg just cannot auto-attack.
You know what? Honestly, what I am going to say here, Aragon, is I think Vanir have done a pretty decent job of staying in this game. I think a lesser team would have buckled to what Nord are putting down. I feel Nord are getting challenged by a team who clearly understand, you know, when to and when not to fight. Yes, they've made some risks, and I think that has made their game harder. Lingui is probably going to be okay here because he's a Scion.
Way too tanky.
Yeah, but, you know, I will say they've done an okay job on that front. They tried to get the damage off of the Woolite. Cask didn't really do much because, you know, this Overheal Bloodthirster build. He hasn't got the Bloodthirster? That's just Overheal? What?
And
what were Riot doing?
Shield and Severum.
Nah.
What?
What were Riot doing when they did this buff? That's
AD carry's weak, man. Sorry. I'm just a top laner and I hate the other side of the map.
No.
Right?
I'm a mid laner and I hate bot side. No one likes bot lane. Not even bot laners. Oh, man. That is absolutely bonkers.
Absolutely.
I saw that shield and I naturally assumed it was a Bloodthirster. Oh, God.
He has a lot of passive shields though, right? Like, he also has Rakan shield and Annie shield, so it's like, it's not just that, but it is still pretty brutal, isn't it? It's still really rough. Take a look at that, and no Bloodthirster, so that could be another 450 HP.
I'm gonna say he's got a longsword in his inventory. He's probably not gonna get a GA yet, because I mean longsword doesn't build into that. That's probably a vamp sector, and I think I could hazard a guess at where that vamp sector is gonna end out at.
I don't think they'll get there. I'd be really hyped if they did, but I think this game might end soon, right? You just feel it. Even though, to be fair,
I feel like there's still fuel in the tank here for Vanir. I don't think they're out of this game yet. I think they're definitely on a severe back foot, and back foot might be a little bit too light of a way to put it. They are currently stumbling backwards.
Okay,
but I would say they still got some life. I think the problem though you do have is GP and Aphelios have scaled, and Chrisberg hasn't. I think that's probably the major flaw right now in my theory.
Yeah, no, completely. No, I completely agree. And if you do look raw at the items, it's only Gangplank. WoW on this Gangplank, who's majorly accelerated over his opposition, right? You have 3.5 items for Chrisberg, 3.5 items for the Aphelios Warlight, and Engage coming down. I think Chrisberg's dead.
Oh, they threw everything onto Chrisberg. He's going to try and get his way out, but it's not going to happen. The teleport comes in, and here is the backup. Luca throws the cast down, delivering Annie away to safety. Lingui tanking everything he can. He's able to get out, but you might have been right there, Aragon. Maybe my spider senses aren't there, because it looks like Nord. They knew this game was coming to an end. They're going to throw everything at Lingui. He was tanky, but he wasn't tanky enough. Even slowed in zombie form, unable to survive. Chrisberg's coming back in 25 seconds. Maybe they can save the day, but Luca's going to get himself in there with the stopwatch, able to get out, to get the hook, to get everything thrown down. The CC's there to follow up as down go the towers and down go Vanir. Their chances are slimmer than ever of them making it to playoffs. It's not done, but it's going to be goddamn hard. A killing spree going over to Fury. Chrisberg going to try and pad the stats on the way out, but 34 minutes on the clock, and Nord take the win.
And I think that last ultimate from Chrisberg was the most fun he had that game. Genuinely, where he got excited. I don't think there was anything else he can do, right, that entire game. It was like he was playing a horror game where he gets vi-ulted and flash tibbers by Fury.
That last ult, Gale Force flashed away from the vial and still got chased down by the Annie. Like, Chrisberg just didn't get to play League of Legends. That was he's gonna go and actually have his first game of the day after this. That was a very, very rough one there for Chrisberg. I mean, that wasn't the Aphelios. I will admit that shield was disgusting.
It's WoW.
But it wasn't.
That was WoW.
It was very much WoW on the GP. We don't need to do the MVP because we know it's WoW.
Yeah.
We know WoW gets MVP. That quadra kill blew the game open for him. He got first blood, Sheen on first wave, walks it into just the most unbelievably powerful play in the mid lane. And WoW was the MVP for that game. Absolutely brilliant stuff coming out from him.
Yeah, and I want to give props, commiserations to Vanir, but props to Lingui for surviving a Sheen Gangplank level 1. And look, Vanir were actually really competitive early. I thought they had a really big chance here because at one point I was saying maybe Verdant are sweating. In my head that maybe they're sweating because you could see they kept finding these picks where they just one-shot Fury, punishing that lack of flash and immobility, using that displacement from Vanir, from Luca and Ploxy. Unfortunately, the other side of the map just it kept not going so well. I think Chrisberg had a really hard time despite finding a kill. It can never really translate into anything. And then once again, WoW getting punished, but did this really matter? No, he redeemed himself, right? With that Gale Force GP, with that quadra kill in the mid lane. Still,
I can't believe we just saw Gale Force GP. I actually low-key forgot that was in.
So great.
Oh, mad scientist build. I mean, it worked out, right? Really, really bizarre build, but a build that worked nonetheless. And here we go. This is it.
Here it is.
We kind of missed the barrels at the beginning, but absolutely just stellar play coming in from the guy. I believe he got his passive onto
I couldn't
touch.
tell.
I didn't see how touch died there. I believe it was passive, but we almost got a penta.
Oh, the replay?
Okay, we're going back and forwards. There we go. No, we're not. Really, really clutch stuff. And I feel sorry for Chrisberg. This was a very, very sad game to be an AD carry him.
This is the kind of game where you justify AD carry complaints about that role being irrelevant, right? You completely sympathize. And
No. We've literally just had Zeri, Lulu, and Yumi and that whole mess.
Oh.
I have no sympathy for AD carries right now, but no, I do have sympathy for Chrisberg because he didn't even get the opportunity to play. That was just, honestly, a solid draft by Nord. They knew what their comp needed to do, and it was just deny Chrisberg from playing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Really, really well played, and all these team fights were so good. Fury, I believe, this was the team fight where Chrisberg couldn't play because he face-checked Fury, and then he's just out of the fight because he loses his cleanse, and how can he walk up after that? Right? No direct peel. And I think from the beginning, this is what we said. This is the entire story of the game. And there's the 2k range engage from the Vi and the Flash anti-timbers. How do you play, man? I can't. I would hate to be Chrisberg here.
Yeah, that was a little bit tragic for him, unfortunately. I don't know, man. It was obviously just a very, very solid game coming in from the side of Nord. But I do have to I think, the main thing we have to look at is, for the side of Vanir, they made that competitive for the majority of that 35-minute game. It was only towards the end where it felt like the game was just out of their hands. But they honestly had a solid grip on that game. Sure, they weren't in control of it. They had a grip on that game for a very, very long time. And it gives me hope because they've got to play Ruddy tomorrow.
That's brutal still.
I'm going to judge them versus how well they play versus Ruddy tomorrow. Because if we look at how Verdant played today versus Ruddy, Ruddy slammed Verdant. And Vanir looked competitive versus Nord. So realistically, if Nord looked competitive versus Verdant, at least the Commiserations prize is they kind of might have been the better team in the end. Yeah. Even if they don't make playoffs. It'll be a sad way to go out, finding out that maybe they probably should have deserved. Maybe it just came too late. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, if they didn't get themselves together, if they kind of been on this form earlier, they genuinely could have been in playoffs by now. Definitely 100%.
a team that struggled earlier on into split and definitely found their form as the game went on. And you know what? I think they've definitely they've lifted themselves out of being in contention for the bottom tier teams. I think there's a very clear divide in our league, you know, from top half and bottom half teams. And I think Vanir, they've definitely lifted themselves out of that. I think they are for sure, at the very least, our 5th place team, right? I think there's no contest and there's no argument that they would consistently beat people below them. It's just whether or not they're better than Verdant, and I guess we'll see that tomorrow.
Yeah, I guess we will. I'm very excited for that one, but we do have our losers interview. So we got Touch here. Hello, Touch. How you doing? That was honestly a very, very fun game. I'm sure for you guys, maybe not as fun for us watching it. But you guys made it look very competitive. You know, how was the preparation for this game?
Yeah, I mean, the preparation was like normal, like we do against all teams. We went through some scenarios and we were not sure if we wanted to ban Caitlyn or Annie in this game, but we flipped it on the Kate ban and they got Annie, and that was maybe not the right choice. But yeah, other than that, yeah, just normal draft prep.
Yeah. On a positive note, right? On a positive note, I just wanted to ask, what do you think clicked? Because I don't think you'd argue that like early on in the split, you guys were a bit really shaky, right? I saw great stuff, you know, with some flanks, but you guys got so much better towards the end. What happened? What clicked?
Yeah, I don't know what really happened or not. I mean, we just scrimmed like we used to, and then maybe the meta shifted a bit, or we started picking up the meta, and we were maybe in the beginning we were too late to understand what champs are OP or not. But yeah, I think lately we have been playing good, but maybe it was too late to start. Yeah, if we had this start, I think it would be a different situation, and we would be top 4.
I mean, you know, you're not out of the race. You got to play versus Ruddy tomorrow. How are you feeling? Obviously, this game you didn't win, but I like I said multiple times, I think you guys look competitive for the like 32 of those 34 minutes. To be honest, you look like you still had a grip. Do you have every faith that you can still find that win tomorrow versus Ruddy?
Yeah, I mean, last time we played Ruddy, we were really dominant, I would say. I think it was like our mistakes that lost the game and not their punishing us. So if we play like we did last time, and yeah, just try to keep up the momentum, then I'm for sure we're gonna bring a good fight against Ruddy. I think they're beatable for sure.
I'm very, very excited to see that game. I really hope you give us a banger one there. Touch, thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you on the winner side of the interview tomorrow. See you later, mate.
Hopefully. Thank you. Bye.
And I believe we have Woolite standing by after that game. Hey, mate, how you doing? How was that game for you?
It felt pretty slow from my point of view. Not gonna lie, I don't think much happened on like from my side, but the action, I guess WoW had probably the most fun because of how much free farm he got and how fed he was so early on the bank plank. So when the fight on mid occurred, he just one-shot everyone. So yeah.
Did you going into that game, did you expect that game to kind of feel like that? Because to me, as someone watching it, you had the fed GP, but like it still felt like you were being challenged by Vanir quite a lot. And you know, they were losing some fights, but they were winning some fights. Did you think maybe this was going to be a little bit more one-sided than what we got? Or did you actually expect maybe they were going to, show up and at least be competitive today like they were in this game?
To be honest, they had really good early game today, especially like the mid jungle. I think they got really a lot of advantage on mid lane, right? So that's why it was harder to roll over the game, and also the peaks. We don't really have snowball comp, or like lane dominance. Like Aphelios Rakan, obviously we just scale, but I didn't really worry much because I knew I think we scale much better because of the GP and the Aphelios Rakan. So, and yeah, when I play Aphelios, I never have doubts that I'll win. I think it's the highest win rate in my champion pool ever. So I'm just so happy Aphelios is back, in the meta.
Okay, is it broken? Is it broken? Be honest. You're an AD carry main, be honest.
I think there's counterplays to Aphelios. It's not like you can blind it, I think, anytime. There's ways to cover his weaknesses. So I wouldn't say he's broken. I would say broken champion is that you can just first pick and be fine every situation. The Bloodthirster build helps a lot into poke lanes, but imagine you play into Varus Ashe as Aphelios, I think you FF. So yeah.
Yeah, this is why Ashe and Caitlyn and all these lanes get banned before Aphelios comes out, right? Is typically the idea? Yeah. Yeah. No, it just looks insane every time I see it. So I just wanted to confirm from an AD carry. Thank you.
I love Aphelios.
That to me felt like a lawyer making a statement, trying to not admit that something's broken, but that's how it read to me. Thank you very much for joining us on the interview, mate. We will speak to you soon, hopefully, and we'll see you later, all right?
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
See you later, mate. And for us, it is time for us to take a break and a breather. My voice is starting to suffer. We're halfway through. But we will be moving on to Unique versus Natives after this game. Not so much on the line, but maybe we'll see our first ever 0-14 streak here at the NLC.